Imagine this: you wake up one morning, stretch your arms, and suddenly your bed starts floating. The glass of water on your nightstand drifts into the air. Your books lift off the shelf, and your dog is spinning slowly in midair. Sounds fun, right? But hold on, this isn't magic. This is what would happen if gravity suddenly disappeared for just 10 seconds. These 10 seconds might not sound like much, but trust me, it would be the most chaotic 10 seconds in the history of Earth. So first, what is even gravity? Think of it as the invisible force that pulls everything towards everything else. It's what keeps your feet on the ground, makes apples fall from trees, and holds the moon in its orbit around the Earth. Without gravity, nothing would stay put. You, me, the oceans, even the air we breathe, everything is held here by gravity's constant, gentle pull. It's basically the glue that keeps our planet and the entire universe from flying apart. So now let's start the clock and imagine the exact moment gravity turns off. In the very first second, everything that isn't bottled to the ground starts to float. People, cars, loose rocks, and dust, all of it begins to drift slowly upward. If you are outside, you'll feel your feet lift off the pavement. It might feel being in a swimming pool but with no water. Planes would be crashing in the sky, would suddenly lose all of their lift and start floating aimlessly. Even birds would find it impossible to fly because they need the push against the air, and gravity helps them to do that. But here's the really wild part: the air itself would start moving upward too. That's right. Gravity is what keeps our atmosphere wrapped around the Earth, like a cozy blanket. Without it, air would begin escaping into space, like a giant invisible bubble bursting. Within a second, pressure would drop dramatically, making it feel like you've been instantly transported to the top of Mount Everest. By the first second, things get truly chaotic. The oceans, no longer held down, would begin to rise up in massive, floating blobs of water. Imagine entire ocean lifting off the planet's surface. People inside tall buildings would suddenly find themselves bumping against the ceilings, and all of the furniture, pets, and everything else in their homes would become a dangerous, airborne obstacle course. And what about up in space? The International Space Station and thousands of satellites that orbit Earth would suddenly lose their carefully balanced paths and start drifting away into the void. This isn't just few floating objects. The entire order of our planet would be collapsing. If we reach the 6th second, the situation becomes catastrophic. Without the immense force of gravity pulling it all together, Earth itself would start to lose its shape. The planet isn't just a solid rock. It's a dynamic sphere of molten rock, metal, and relatively thin crust. Gravity is what keeps it squeezed into a nearly perfect ball. Without that force, the pressure from its core would start to push upwards. The Earth's crust would crack, mountains would crumble, and tectonic plates would shift violently, causing unimaginable earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Meanwhile, the moon, which is only held in orbit by Earth's gravity, would begin to drift away on a new path. The lost in space forever. The sky would look like a disturbingly empty, and our atmosphere, the very air we need to breathe, would rapidly thinning and escape into space. Now, imagine we reach the 9th second. Earth is pure chaos. Oceans are floating in massive, separate chunks in the upper atmosphere. People, cars, and entire buildings are suspended high above the ground. The planet itself is starting to bulge and crack, and our most breathable air is gone. It's a scene of silent, weightless destruction. But then, just suddenly as it left, gravity switches back on. Everything, and I mean everything, comes crashing down. The force of gravity reasserts itself instantly. The billions of tons of ocean water that were floating high above will fall back to Earth at incredible speed, creating tsunamis so massive they would swamp entire continents. Buildings, cars, and people would plummet down to the ground with a devastating force. It would shake the entire planet, far worse than any earthquake we've ever known. The air rushing back in would create sonic booms that could shatter anything left standing. Even though the gravity was gone for just 10 seconds, the world would literally be utterly and irreversibly changed. But here's the good news. This could never actually happen. Gravity isn't like a light switch that someone can just turn off and on. It's a fundamental property of the universe, created by mass. As long as the Earth and all of the other massive objects in the universe exist, they will have gravity. So this whole scenario is just a what if a mind-bending thought experiment that helps us appreciate how crucial this invisible force is to our very existence. So the next time you drop your keys, or just feel the comforting sensation of your feet on the ground, take a moment to thank gravity. It's the quiet, constant force that holds our hands, our world together. Without it, life as we know it wouldn't just fall apart, it would be gone in a flash. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. If you enjoyed exploring this, mind-bending and what if, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video where we break down the amazing science of our world. See you next time!